接下来这场对决呢，也是相信非常多人之关注的 EDG 呢对阵我们的皇族，到底战况如何？他们的这个战况能否改变他们现在的一个积分排名情况呢？也让我们一起拭目以待喽。
范冰冰健康美丽课堂，每天动一动，每天大声笑，每天睡个饱。还有天窝蜂蜜柚子茶，蜂蜜带来健康，柚子带来美丽，健康美丽喝下哟。天窝蜂蜜柚子茶。
欢迎继续收看英雄联盟职业联赛。我们晚上要来进行的比赛是 EDG 跟皇族之间的 BO2，但是我们先回顾一下 YG 跟青训队之间的一个对决。第二场仍旧是由青训取得了胜利。是的，
一个2比0。今天 YG 第二场选的阵容，我们先来看一下上一场的 MVP
是给到了司马老贼的小套。我们也犹豫了一阵子，就是要不要给上单。
All right, guys, let's get ready for the second set of the night. I am unable to contain the excitement. Frost, I don't know about you. This is going to be an insane match, in my opinion.
So yeah, it's definitely the higher bracket match, of course, like you mentioned earlier on in the show. It's Starhorn Royal Club versus Edward Gaming, EDG. It's effectively exactly the second match and the third match teams going at it.
Yeah, this is going to be a very decisive match. It'll definitely determine a little bit more of the final standings. These teams don't have too many more chances to really prove where they're going to be at the end of the season. Starhorn will take on Invictus later on this week, but that'll be the last match they play. Meanwhile, Edward Gaming still has LGD and Wordle to contend with in Week 10. But they are really going to want to make this statement. If they won the LPL Spring, if they win again, they do get the automatic seeding into Worlds. So don't have to worry about playing any extra matches. So you can bet they'll be wanting to take this one. But Starhorn, they've been looking quite good lately.
Lately, and I'm glad that you brought it up. I wanted to kind of take this platform to really talk about Starhorn Royal Club. Obviously, as far as the Western audience is concerned, they're a very accessible team because they showed up at Season 3 Worlds in the playoffs, or excuse me, not the playoffs, the finals. I want to emphasize, though, that was a completely different team. Not only from a roster standpoint, but from literally a sponsorship and name standpoint. This is no longer Royal Club, it is Starhorn Royal Club. The only remaining member that showed was, or is, UZI, the AD carry. And effectively, I wish I had like a graph and you could see my hand, but the trajectory of Starhorn Royal Club from their Worlds performance went straight into the ground. Whites, their superstar mid laner left. You had Tabe's retirement, lost their shot caller there, and they really kind of fumbled around trying to find a solid roster. Recently, though, they've been on the rise this season when they brought over Korean talent in the form of KT Insec and Zero, former KT sub. They've also brought out their star mid lane and top lane, Cola and Korn.
Yep, but no pushovers are their opponents tonight. It is going to be Edward Gaming. And for those of you who may not be super familiar with the team, we'll run through them now. It is Cora1 in the top lane. A very, very strong but selfless laner. He wasn't typically known for winning lane, but that's starting to change.
Yeah, he's definitely changing up his playstyle. You should hear the crowd go crazy loud. There they go. It's Clear Love in the jungle.
Yep, that is definitely a very powerful, stealthy jungle player. He used to play a lot of Evelynn. He's been playing Rengar a lot lately as well, as you can see. Loves to carry games if he can. And of course, his buddy in the mid lane is going to be you. Little U, big U, short for unstoppable. And he has been quite good in that role.
Known for his utility-based mages, although he heavily prefers to play assassins, but his team hasn't really allowed for it. Yu is the crutch which EDG stands on. He's incredibly consistent. I feel like he's really the star player, although most people would say that the star player is Name. Mentioned in the same breath as Imp and Deft, he is possibly, or he is for sure, one of the greatest AD carry players in the world currently. Hyper carry potential, plays everything and anything. Expect Lucian to be a contested pick between him and UZI. Joining him in that bot lane, also former World Elite member FZZF, the support. So the reason why Clearlove and FZZF are get so much fan feedback for them is because they were formerly of World Elite. There's a bit of animosity between EDG and WE as EDG spawned from the ashes of World Elite roster switch-ups.
Speaking of ashes, that's typically what happens to World Elite when EDG faces them, especially in that bot lane. Wei Zhao has been an insane performer in the past and just started to pick it back up again. But yeah, everyone thought he was the best ADC in China. Move over, said Name, and he's kind of been doing that lately. But their opponents, a team that hopes to knock them off and secure that second place spot, it will be Starhorn Royal Club, the super hot Royal Club, as they have
the
also been
super hot
dubbed.
Royal Crew.
2-0 against OMG, and that had a lot of fans going OMFG.
That was a great set.
That was an amazing play. And it wasn't bad by OMG in any way. At all.
Exactly. So the roster lineup, this is going to be Zero, their support. I will hands down tell you he is the best support in LPL right now. I think the only person that can really kind of contest with him is Cloud, OMG's current support, but Cloud has a very limited champion pool. Zero is incredibly mechanically proficient across the board and everything. Of course, UZI, the big 80 carry player, expect Lucian to be played. He played Lucian. This is the 4.12 Lucian.
He's
There's
the only holdout from the world squad as well.
Yes, he's the only holdout left on the roster. In the mid lane is going to be Korn, and I feel like a lot of people put an emphasis on UZI's performance and say, you know, he's the hard carry. But Starhorn Royal Club has found success when they put responsibility on Korn's shoulders. In their matchup against OMG, where they 2-0'd the #1 team and really kind of came out on their hot streak, it was because Korn finally stepped up to the plate and decided to play well, namely on that Fizz. Nsec, of course, in the jungle, brought over the... I think I've seen this guy before.
No one popularized that Lee Sin jump kickback as well as just about everything else you can possibly do on that champion.
They call it the cacao now.
Oh,
by the way.
too soon. OGN Kakackle. Bringing up the top lane, of course, it will be Cola. He plays a lot of Jax even with the nerfs, actually. We saw him pull that out the last time they played to great success, just proving that you can't keep the guy down.
They're very different mentalities as far as the top laners are concerned. I like that you touched on Koro was very a team-based player. He understands zones really well, and he plays traditional bruiser champions, a lot of Trundle, Maokai, as you saw, Shyvana, things like that.
He's the best Trundle in LPL, doesn't he?
Oh yes, he is, and it was an undefeated Trundle until recently. Cola is very much more kind of Zion Spartan-esque. He can play things like Gragas and like that, but he's much more, you know, I'm going to draw attention to the top lane, you're going to have to come deal with me at some point. I'm going to beat you 1v1 in the mid lane. Or, excuse me, top lane.
Call him Cola. That'd be weird.
They call him Pepsi.
Depending on who pays them the most. Has to be a sponsorship deal. Can we get that sponsored? Starhorn Royal Cola Club?
And right out the gate, you see that Fizz ban. Completely taken away from Korn. I cannot emphasize enough, Starhorn finds success when Korn gets to play Assassins. Previously, kind of at the beginning of the split, I don't know if it was communication issues, nerves, or anything like that, but Korn just was not performing. And it was effectively up to Nsec and UZI to just hard carry the team. That's now changed. There are so many superstars lined up for Starhorn Royal Club's roster. That said, you want to talk about superstars, EDG, probably
they're the superstars.
They're the CLG of China. Everyone talks about, you know, the potential that they have to reach. Finished first place in the the spring split. If they finish first place in this split, they automatically qualify for Worlds. And it's such a shame, too, because the Western world, you know, internationally, I can't believe that went through. Internationally, they keep showing and they keep kind of fumbling, dropping the ball, and there's kind of disappointment. OMG didn't perform here. World Elite didn't perform here.
Can we talk about how Name will be very scary on Lucian, even if they put you on it?
But that's the thing, like, the world has yet to see the best AD carry from China, Name. They've yet to play with him or touch him in international contexts.
Yeah, and it will definitely make for an interesting Worlds. I have no doubt in my mind that EDG, even if they don't win Summer, even if they don't get the automatic seed, they should have no problem ending up in one of those top 3 slots. So you going for the safe pick now onto Orianna, and then they opt to give Clear Love Jarvan, who has been a very popular pickup for a lot of junglers that aren't named Insec.
I'm curious that you didn't decide to go for Ziggs. That was his most played champion. Obviously, it's in the understanding that they're picking up Jarvan, and so they're going for a traditional wombo combo-esque composition. But that's kind of strange.
It is a little bit odd, but they have a plan in mind, and it probably doesn't involve Victor, but they're definitely pretending it does for a moment. FCZF is a pretty solid Morgana player as well, and I like that that's their answer to the Braum. They have a lot of zone control with this composition.
Unlike other supports in LPL, Morgana is FCZF's most played champion from the last split. I was going to say, it's going to be Mundo. It's the direct answer to Gragas.
That's a really good choice, too. And Koro knows how to play this extremely well.
See what... Ooh, switching up last second.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, never mind. It's time to go Shyvana. If I recall correctly... No, it's Kola who plays the really tanky Shyvana.
Oh, Kora's a big Shyvana player as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of the LPL, it will definitely opt for that, but I feel like that's more of a comfort pick. I would have liked the Mundo, and Uzi is going to get himself Corki.
I think Shyvana works a little bit better with Orianna as far as like her mobility. I guess Mundo has mobility on its ultimate as well, but as far as her ball delivery system, so it's not just relying on Jarvan.
And I think also the Orianna might have been picked up to deny Korn that, just so they don't have the submarine comp with Insect, who is more than proficient enough to pull that off in any given situation.
That's a good point. I wanted to talk about Clear Love a little bit. Clear Love has a reputation... I know, right? Step back. Clear Love has a reputation of being a farm-heavy jungler. Excuse me, sorry, I'm sick and I need to take a drink of water real quick.
Go for it. Farm-heavy jungler. We got you.
Okay. He's a farm-heavy jungler. You have to think that he was trained under Messiah. When he was, jungling, Messiah was his mid laner. Messiah, known as a Twisted Fate player. Very much about map presence, map control. Clear Love excels on champions like Evelynn, who kind of give them a global pressure advantage without actually ganking. The fact that he's on Jarvan, he's found recent success here, but it doesn't necessarily fit his playstyle of ganking early and favoring his lanes. I expect to see him mid a lot because that's typically where he focuses. Initially, at the very start of EDG's kind of creation, it was all about the synergy between Clear Love and Koro, and he would constantly be ganking top, but they've started to shy away from that now that Koro's kind of taking on his ability to really kind of stand even in lane. He wasn't necessarily known as, the flame or the go-going of the top lane. He just kind of survived it. So there's a little bit more trust there. And it makes sense, too, with the fact that it's like an Orianna Jarvan. So I definitely think focus is going to be on that mid lane.
It's definitely something a little bit different, and I like that they are mixing it up here. We'll see how it works out as we load up onto the Rift for the start of our second set tonight. Edward Gaming taking on Starhorn Royal Club. And this is going to be one heck of a matchup, I think. Right out the gate, both teams lining up. Line of scrimmage again. This has pretty much become the standard. However, they're going to collide somewhere near the mid lane.
I'm shocked that Lucian went through, especially after the success that Uzi found on it during the Demacia Cup.
I have a better good reason for that.
A big issue as well is Name popularized the Lucidity Boots Lucian build as well as the Ghostblade far before it ever showed in the Western world, far before any Lucian changes ever went live on the LPL patch.
Right, and it's even better now.
Exactly.
With the changes. This is 412, so it will be really scary to see what Name does with this champion in his hands.
So we have this pause going out.
Even the players are like, what? What's going on?
It's better now that it happened at the early start of the game as opposed to,
it doesn't break any rhythm. Does break Uzi's thoughts, though. I was going to go for an early invade.
Uzi fell back to the Corki as opposed to the Caitlyn pickup, or the Tristana and Kog'Maw.
There were a lot of options on the table.
I think he's respecting the mobility of Lucian.
That's a fair point. you get caught out, it's a little bit rough to deal with. Do you think that they maybe go for a lane swap? I mean,
No.
Uzi strikes me, yeah. He strikes me as that person that will take any 2v2.
Exactly. Name and Uzi are two. I'm trying to think of the most polite way to
Hold
say.
on, I think I can. Hold on, let me be your PR here, Frosk. They're very confident.
Thank
AD
you.
carries.
That's
They want to fight each other. It's like
I know
Goku
it
versus
starts with
Vegeta
a
up in
C.
here.
They are very confident players that they will always find the 2v2.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well, they've got some great supports backing up. You sung the praises of Zero, but I feel like FCZF doesn't get quite enough love for the amount of work he puts in.
Oh, SCZF is great at recognizing when to fight. Also a very good Morgana player.
Nami knows when to fight.
Just
Anytime.
lets
Is that a
his AD
Braum?
carry.
Double tap. Oh, yeah, look at this. This is so aggro. They know that's exactly what's there.
By the way, standard except for the fact that Clearlove is starting his blue. So either going mid or bot with early lane pressure unless he's just going to make like a full 2 rotation cycle through his jungle and farm it out. Although again, it fits Clearlove's MO, but I would like to see him gank more because he is on Jarvan.
I think they're going to trust their bot lane to really perform early on anyways, so Name doing his best to avoid out the early poke as the game begins. And actually not doing too great a job of that, or FCZF rather, tanking up a little bit of it. But
this lane should be full control for Name and SCZF simply because it's Morgana Lucian. Corki really won't have a power spike back in his favor until he's level 6 and he has his ultimate available, but the fact that FCZF started pool first with the idea that we're going to get control of the minion wave, we're going to get the early level 2, and we're going to bully you out, they recognize that they have the stronger lane.
so I wanted to talk about where we might see the most action early on. So usually we talk like a featured matchup or something like that. I'm thinking this time it might be that mid lane because Korn he's going to be okay to just like safe farm it up, but they're going to try and gank the heck out of you just because they know he has such a carrying presence. If they can shut him down and not get up to those levels, the shockwaves will sting a lot less in the team fights.
I expect that it will be mid lane as far as where Clearlove's presence is, although Insec is much more versatile in his gank pass.
Oh, that's
He
lovely.
finds a lot of aggression in enemy jungle as well, so I'm unsure where he's going to quite put all of his eggs, but I expect Clearlove to be ganking for you a lot.
I just had a skin idea. Easter Bunny Rengar.
That sounds awful but amazing at the same time.
I know,
as long
right?
as
It's like
it
one of
looks
those like,
the,
it's so bad, it just might work.
the bunny suit Teemo.
No, that thing's that's terrifying actually.
And look at the interaction between these two champions. The fact that Lucian's E no longer has a mana cost to it, and it's on such a low cooldown, that every time the Phosphorus bomb comes up from Corki, he can easily, without regret, there's no...
It's like watching Doombot's graves.
He just easily, you know, sidesteps it.
Yep, everything. Yeah, no threat whatsoever. And they're keeping full control, as you mentioned. The farm hasn't gotten away from them, though. Uzi has been able to keep up, match it point for point so far.
See what Name is able to do with this champion, though.
Yeah, he's perfectly content to farm it up for just a little while. We'll have a power spike a lot earlier than Uzi. I think when that happens, we should start seeing a lot more crazy aggression, but this game is going to be very slow-paced and controlled for just a moment, unless somebody makes a really critical error. Ooh, here comes Clearlove, though.
Insec is back, so he's not around for a counter gank should one be, but it looks like he's just going for his mini golems. It's too far pushed.
That's a nice pathing, though, too. Just gives him just enough time to say, hey, are you available for gank? Oh, no? Okay, I'll take my golems.
It's just so classic Clearlove that it kills me. The fact that every single one of his lanes is pushed, so there's no emphasis to gank, so he doesn't need
to do anything.
It's just farm Jarvan, where it makes sense.
I need to carry. No, it's okay, Clearlove. Go back to the jungle. We'll call you when we need you.
And of course, it makes sense for Insec to be spending his time in the jungle. He is on that Rengar. His pretty much his ganks pre-level 6 are entirely dependent on counter ganks, and one of his waves being shoved. And since all of his waves are not available,
please try again. Should be pretty easy for now. FCZF finding himself a little out of position. Gets the black shield off, so no problem whatsoever. It's hard to give an edge in this one, just because Starhorn's really answering every move that's being made. Now, Koro and Kola, didn't talk about them much. They're dueling it up in the top, but Koro should be able to out-sustain. It's curious he picked up the Shyvana over the Mundo, just because they both have incredible team fighting presence, but I think they really wanted to emphasize the ball delivery system.
I was looking at the mana difference in that mid lane. The fact that Yu pretty much has a full mana bar and Korn's running pretty much on empty. Name making a first early back. Stylistically, these teams are actually very different. Starhorn Royal Club, they need to make moves early. I feel that they're really good kind of around the early to mid game about making plays over objectives. They're a very clean team that say, okay, we took the pick here, we're going to transition this into this objective, and it's almost like you can see a clear-cut plan for them about how they want to go about the game. EDG, when they're firing on all cylinders, it's beautiful, but they've always had this issue of kind of consistency to play at their highest level for the amount of talent that they have, and they use you as a crutch to stall out games long enough for them to kind of find their whole 5v5. You will not find a better team fighting team than EDG. They are so good at it that it's even scared for China.
But that was the classic EDG. That was the thing that they relied on. You mentioned it's a crutch, and it's true. But we have seen you really stepping it up with more of the assassins he's like to play. Obviously, he's not really on that this game, but this might be a utility mage, but it's still got a lot of high kill pressure, and he's doing his best to try and bully Korn away, which is really difficult to do. Oh, Name. He goes a little far forward without his support, actually nearly dodging away from the Phosphorus Bomb, but he has to get out of lane soon.
Good punishment from Uzi.
He's going far forward for this one. Playing like he means it, but here comes Rengar. Name. Uh-oh, he knows what's happening. That's first blood. Should not have stayed in that lane.
Effectively, zero jungle pressure from Clearlove, no ganks across the map at all. Insect gets to farm in his jungle. There's no threat to any of his lanes from being dove or anything like that because they're so safe and far back. He farms his jungle, gets level 6, finds the first blood through a lane gank.
An easy one, too. This opens up dragon pressure as well. In fact, all or 4 members of Starhorn are going to be able to take this. However, there could be a steal if Clearlove wants to take it, but no. He's like, I'm good. That's fine.
And again, it's that plan from Starhorn that we were talking about previously. It's Insect saying, I'm going to farm in the jungle. Like, you guys are fine, let them push. I'm farming the jungle till 6, gank bottom, take the kill on the carry, rotate into dragon. You can tell that this is like a methodical, planned out thing from them.
Yeah, there was really a clear plan of action for Starhorn, and EDG is just sort of relying on, alright guys, we can just dominate our lanes. Now that, hopefully for them, this will be a wake-up call that says, hey, we gotta make something happen here. Dragon's not available to take. Name, all that really was a result of Name playing far too greedy. He goes out forward, and then just, there's nothing for him to take there. He just should have backed ages ago.
I feel like a lot of the pressure and the fault, yes, Name has an issue of playing, as the Chinese like to call it, a little bit too hero. It is definitely on Clearlove, though, to perform. See cheese.
I would love some cheese with my ham.
Lost quite a sizable CS lead to UZI. 71 to 60 now.
Well, that's what'll happen when you die and you're back on Fountain for a bit. Nami's trying to answer back with it, but this isn't great when you're dealing with somebody like Corki who will outscale you in the later end of the game. Name taking a lot of shots as he gets the calling out. Not enough damage returned, however. Just hasn't been able to buy anything to keep pace. The Sheen is already on Uzi.
I was going to say, both Lucian and Corki, they have mid-game power spikes. Lucian is geared a little bit more towards later game by the item changes and the slight changes to him, kind of where he was. Although, hold on a second, because Insect now. In the top lane, same trick.
Lane gank. Koro is a little more wary of this, and he has to see it. Oh, that was a nice stun combo. Dragon Descent, though, means I'm going to be able to get out. And the barrel will connect, but the bullet does not. So, spends an ultimate for 2. And that's not too bad.
Kola held his cask far too long for that. I think he was initially trying to get the Dragon Descent just as it came down. Mechanical misstep. Koro gets the ground he needs to walk away with his life and didn't even burn his flash.
Yeah, it was a nice combo with the belly bump the moment that Insect came in. Just said, oh, you can't do anything for a second and a half. That was really nice, but they just, yeah, they didn't have the follow-up damage, and he should have thrown the cask out way early.
Back in this lane, Uzi now has level 6, as well as Braum, so their lane pressure grows exponentially, which is why you suddenly see the different posturing in the lane from EDG's bot lane.
The Corn is going to go for his blue. That was a sad wolf. Isn't it the saddest thing when they die and they just make that sound like you know, like your dog like just...
Uh-oh, Corn.
Yeah. You don't even want to know.
Corn he knows, he knows.
It's a pickle, guys. I can't go anywhere. Oh, I'm going to try. I'm going to make a run for it. Oh, there's a shockwave. Oh, my goodness. Clear Love couldn't follow through in time. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Koro's in some trouble. In second, Cola found him, but burns his flash and gets away again. So for all the mistakes, positional mistakes that some of these players are making, it's not being punished hard enough.
Again, Clear Love's aggression. He had ultimate available right there. It was a very nice satchel. Good side set from you. A really nice satchel from Corn right there to kind of get him out of a sticky situation, but commits hard to a gank, and he committed a lot of time to the gank. That was a good 20-second window where he was effectively just standing in a brush while Insec was making moves top. Didn't find anything for his trouble, got the flash, but Clear Love 0-0-0, 0 impact across this game.
Yeah, he hasn't really been able to do much, mostly because the early game, every lane pushed up, right? But since then, he hasn't really found an effective niche, and that was a really strange stay. It seemed like he was a bit desperate to try and pick a kill off.
Insec looking for round 2, waiting in the back. Here he comes.
Imagine if they had a Thresh this game. That would be really scary.
Will they synergize with 0? There they go.
Name knows. Oh, he goes forward right then. It's going to be FCZF getting melted down quickly as they turn it on with the Glacial Fissure. Name by himself should be able to stay alive, but another kill goes over to Starhorn. Another assist in the pocket of Insec. Or did he? Was that his kill?
They gave it over to
0.
He got it forward because he stepped forward with his stand behind me. But notice how they timed
like a magnet for these winter fights lately.
Notice how they timed that bottom gank with the blue buff. Kurlov and you nowhere near.
Next level stuff, man. Whoa, Name! Oh man, 2-hero.
It's just really good communication. Again, it's Starhorn just seems so much more aware of what's happening around them in the game, whereas EDG is very passive. Starhorn is making the plays, and EDG is just being reactionary.
True facts.
See if Clear Love can find something
yeah,
here.
he's trying to maybe make something happen. Oh, hey, I can go in now. No, I can't. Never mind. Back to the Clear in the ward. 0 is providing way too safe of a front line for Uzi right now. And I think the Corki pick is working really nicely for the mobility factor. You called it earlier. We'll see if it goes on later in the game. Whoa, Shockwave flashed out. They're really just trying to get picks. I don't think EDG needs to do this. They can hold out just fine for the team fighting phase.
The issue, though, is that Starhorn Royal Club are putting down their carries. There's a guy going hard now.
Yeah, he goes into the Valkyrie. That is a Black Shield coming out a little bit too late, and he flashes away from the Soul Shackles to try and disengage this one. Yeah, he gets in, gets out. Sure, he burned a Summoner, but, you know, that worked out.
Starhorn Royal Club are finding tiny little advantages to put them ahead, and it's where they're finding the advantages that hurts most. The fact that they're hard targeting Name and putting all of their pressure and their gold into their... You know, it's all about it's all about the AD carries. So shutting down the enemy star AD carry for your star AD carry, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and to be fair, Uzi hasn't gotten massively far ahead so far, but
it's a sizable gold lead.
It's a decent gold lead, yeah, and a lot of it's in his pocket thanks to a couple of assists and the fact that he's up and up on farm. Name is doing his best to catch up with that, but, well, first of all, he needs to dodge a lot more skill shots.
Like that moment when Rengar is able to purchase a flare. Farm the flare effectively.
Oh, hey, EDG goes for the dragon right now. This is a nice move. Rengar happened to be back, and they knew that they had pushed Starhorn into their tower on bot side. So good move by them to pick up a dragon and get the gold lead a little bit less substantial.
Well, the only reason it worked is because if you take a gander at those wards in that blue side jungle, from all of their previous adventures tracking down Corn through Wolf Camp. Yeah, but look at how many wards that is and how much gold that is.
That'll buy you a dragon.
Well, exactly. That dragon effectively kind of, you know, evened out that gold cost.
Hashtag worth. Oh, Insec. Here he comes. Jumps onto a minion, actually, and gets the bola off onto you, forcing the flash away. Another bola comes in. That's a Mega Inferno Bomb. Going to be enough damage, or is it? Nope. You staying alive. Oh, dodge the bouncing bomb. Oh, that was close.
Insect didn't want to risk his bola getting caught up in the minion wave since he was effectively standing in the back of the caster creeps. So like you said, uses the minion as a jumping point and tries to get a better position for the skill shot. Does land it, although I hear that what you're supposed to do is you're just supposed to jump, and then mid-jump you can throw out the bola animation. It'll hit pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, whatever they were trying to do, it just barely didn't come off. Did force you away, which will give some pressure to this lane, and Clear Love has to get in on cleanup duty. And again, back to Clear Love. The biggest difference in this game is not the mechanics of either AD carry, it's not the presence of the supports, it's this jungle presence. Insect has made a lot more moves, and Clear Love clearly just hasn't.
And again, what's really upsetting, I was talking about it earlier, Flare, and then look at the CS between Insect and Clear Love. Although, hold on a second. There's Shockwave.
Shockwave's going to connect. Clear Love might make himself known here. Corn's going low. Mega Inferno Bomb landing. That is the kill secured. Clear Love, can he get out, though? You taking tower shots. Uh-oh, this was not the good path to go. Insect's going to find himself an Orianna, and they answer 1-for-1. Cola with the teleport in. Makes Clear Love flag and drag out of there as fast as he can.
I think the teleport was a bit overzealous, but you went around the tower because he recognized that Insect was going to be nearby and he was trying to give support to Clear Love. Did not mean to take that tower shot and effectively trades his life. Again, though, Insect is finding so much more presence in the game, has more kills, has more CS, and has more items than Clear Love.
Yeah, so I mean, it would have been a really good engage, but then it got sloppy after the fact. Insect was able to capitalize on it. Yeah, Clear Love just hasn't been the same kind of pressure. They're going to hold out for the team fighting presence if they can wombo combo. But at this point, Starhorn is just playing a little smarter, and if they can keep doing that throughout the team fighting phase, they should get a lot of these fights in their favor. And now Name FCZF pushed back under tower, up in the top. There's a little bit of duel of these two bruisers. Who's going to win out of that one? Koro's on the wrong side of tower, and Cola trying to bait him back in. There's minions as well. Forces the Dragon's Descent away, and that basically just means he proxy farmed it.
Yeah, and I think that was his intention all along. Insect.
Oh, speaking of intention,
for the ultimate.
Insect tries to come in. You said, hey, I've seen this before. Only works once.
I just feel the Starhorn's doing a much better job recognizing the win conditions of their playstyle versus EDG. Although you can never discount EDG's ability to team fight. They used to have one of the longest running game times, and effectively, like we keep talking about, you know, old EDG and how this split, they started to kind of change it up. You know, you was playing more of an assassin-based playstyle, Caleb standing in the wings, and they're just falling back to, you know, late game. We'll wait 50 minutes. We'll have a good anti-siege. We'll get one team fight throw, turn it into a Baron, turn it into the game.
Yep. Oh, here they go. FCZF making moves. We'll get the Soul Shackles off on Uzi and Zero, and that's going to mean the key for Clear Love to come on in. Uzi does have a flash available, not using it just yet. Adds Zero flanking the front line. FCZF somehow on the lower end. Insect coming in to try and make the difference, but it's Zero falling down. Teleport in from Koro. Can they finish up onto Insect? They go on forward. Oh, he flashes away, just barely avoiding, and Koro is on the chase. Can he get the hunt down? Mega Inferno Bomb to zone. This fight's going crazy. Insect falling down to you, who just came out of nowhere, and they're going to try to steal the blue buff on the outside of this one. Corn can't be too happy about that.
A huge collapse from EDG right there. Perfect teleport from Koro, effectively saved his entire team's life. Zero, despite the person going down, and of course it was then followed up by Insect, came up huge. That Braum shield completely negated all of Name's damage through his ultimate right there. Perfectly played from the support. Unfortunately, ooh.
Oh boy! Speaking of perfectly played, Name, oh, he saves himself! Just barely dodging out of the phosphorus bomb. Uzi wanting to go in on this one. Name, gotta be careful. Wow, that dodge! And that is why people call him the best AD carry in China.
Wow, that was so close. The juke right there.
I was like on the edge of my seat about to fall off.
When you watch Name, although...
Oh, Koro, FCZF. Uzi might have stayed a little too long. Dragon's Descent, and that's Clear Love coming in to help Koro pick up that kill. All of a sudden, something has flipped inside the heads of Edward Gaming, and they've come up with 3 kills in the last 2 minutes.
They've just engaged teamfight mode, and this is the quintessential Chinese meta.
Dead even gold
Insec?
too. Oh,
Is that
fancy.
Dandy?
Oh, Insec. See what I can do, guys?
Guys, I saw this in OGN. Hold on. Oh, wow.
Oh,
That ward.
that ward. I think FCZF panicked a bit.
I'd panic seeing Zero come around the corner like that.
Mm-hmm. You never know who's behind him.
Ward competition over the Dragon. However, Dragon is down, which means that the next most important objective on the map is going to be those mid-tier first towers. Taking them down grants the most passive vision and map control.
Oh.
There's no reason to fight here. The teams just shouldn't even... there's no objective that they're fighting over. There's no blue buff, and there's no dragon.
Well, wait, there's a dragon.
When did it spawn? Oh.
Just now.
My stream just glitched out. I see it now.
Oh, man.
China OP. The Great Firewall.
They're going to not let the dragon through? You think they would?
They stopped the dragon in the previous game.
Ooh. Okay. Tower gets taken
Shenlong
down.
reference.
Yeah, exactly.
You with me?
That's not a hard dragon to stop, though. Oh, 0. Yes, that is a ball. Back away. Okay, so Edward Gaming has a positional advantage to try and take this, and Insec has sort of lost the element of surprise. Yeah, he's got a Feral Flare. Oh, they might try to take this one anyways, though. He gets the jump off. Clear Love. He's getting knocked up. Meg Inferno Bomb. Oh, he's low. Staying alive just barely, but now FCZF front tanking the line, and they sacrifice. This is probably going to be a dragon attempt now for Starhorn Royal Club, but they might try to pick up Koro. He's not on the right side of the fight, and he'll try to keep on running out of there. Nice dodge away from the Winter's Bite, and see if he can stop them from taking this dragon. Insec, he's a little bit low himself, but it is still a 4v5 if they should
Nami's
take
got the
it.
culling available.
Yeah, and there's a lot of poke coming out here. Korn tossing out everything he can. Nami is going to spend his culling. That's a low dragon. Should go down here. But can Koro finish up with a kill? He's going in for it. Zero's low. So is Insec and Cola. There's the big Gragas barrel. However, a lot of members are falling, and Edward Gaming is actually coming up with this one until Yu goes down. Koro staying alive, and they end up trading 2 for 3, but the dragon goes into the pockets of Starhorn Royal Club.
Lack of focus while Name was effectively tearing through the front line of Starhorn Royal Club. He put himself right in front of Uziai's Gatling gun and just got shredded instantaneously. Of course, the AD carry, the hyper carry for the team, sitting there just under half health. So it was a numbers disadvantage, but definitely a lack of focus from Edward Gaming.
Is it ironic, or is it redundant that Uziai has a Gatling gun? I'm trying to figure that out in my head.
It was ironic that Name effectively relentless pursuited into the enemy team, especially with Uziai being on that team.
Yeah. Oh. That happened. I'm pretty slow today.
That happens a lot.
Well, yeah. If you're not going hero mode against Uziai, like, what are you even doing with yourself, right?
All she had to really feed.
Oh God. That's a terrifying
Relentless
voice.
pursuit.
That was like your best Lulu, wasn't it?
Pretty much.
But
That
did it
tasted
taste
purple. No, I can't do
it did. Okay. So Edward Gaming is still pretty darn even with this one, despite
Gold
giving
leads,
up that dragon.
completely dead even.
So they managed to answer back, and it was mostly that big set of plays in the bot. They have a tower advantage, just slightly. However, Starhorn has been able to find these picks. It's really coming down to positional. If Edward Gaming has a position they like, they have a better 5v5. But it seems that Starhorn, if they recognize any weakness, they can pounce on it. Quite literally.
Big difference also is in the AD carries. Uziai has the Trinity of the Bork complete. Corki is doing a lot of damage, a lot of mixed AoE damage. So not just physical, but also has that mag damage going for him, although trying to...
Uziai might not want to go in on Koro, but Zero is there to the rescue. Dragons are sent back. Koro staying perfectly fine in that one. Dealing a lot of damage onto Uziai, and they're eyeballing this turret right now. All members of EDG mobilizing up to the top.
I realized that you couldn't see my facial expression to Uziai face-tanking a dragon. Is that double lift?
Is that double lift? No. It was double lift, he would have gotten out with the Penta.
I think he was trying to bait for a Zero, though.
So,
Uziai's like a... What do they say about double lift? He's a weapon that you just kind of have to aim him. That's pretty much Uziai. He's He's this amazing weapon, mechanical abilities, you know, far superior than pretty much anyone. Name up there, definitely on the top 3 AD carries in China.
Name's a little bit different. Yes, he goes ham, he goes a little crazy. I feel
Name's
like he doesn't have the
smarter,
same, he doesn't have the same level of greed, is really the only way I can describe it. Now, Cola, he's split pushing hard right now.
When you watch Name play, kind of like that juke on the tower is pretty much the quintessential Name difference between him and Uzi. You can tell that he's thinking constantly about what the enemy is going to be doing and how to dodge it. Like if you watch him play Kog'Maw, like on Lucian, it's very apparent because he has so many dashes, so it's very easy to dodge everything. But on someone like Kog'Maw, as low mobile and as fragile as that champion, he'll constantly be sidestepping, you know, Gragas casks or Lux lasers or Morgana bindings. Uzi is more of kind of like a hyper cannon.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. He gets rolling and he goes completely crazy and racks up a ton of kills, but it's not always pretty when that doesn't happen or when he goes in. It's kind of Wei Zhao-esque in a sense.
Well, it's also why Zero doesn't play a lot of Leona or really hard engage committal supports. He plays more like Thresh, Nami, Braum, supports that have disengage built into them and versatility. So he can still make plays, but he can go back and he can protect and he can create space for Uzi to thrive, which I think is very key and different in the kind of the dynamic of 2v2. And speaking of the 2v2, we didn't even talk about this. The fact that as the meta shifts back more to a 2v2 as opposed to a lane swap very heavily favors Starhorn Royal Club. Their 2v2, we talk about how, you know, Uzi will always try to find the 2v2 because he's just that powerful of a bot lane. How Zero is perhaps the best support player mechanically and intelligently in LPL currently. He has a great track record. Just the powerhouse of that, I think, really gives them a buff going into the back half of their split.
Oh, absolutely. And at this point, I think Edward Gaming is recognizing that and trying to stay very clear of taking the straight engage in that regard, but they're going big time on the team fight, and they're controlling as much of the buffs and as much of the map as they can. See Clear Love going in the back there to get rid of the ward in the Baron pit. Meanwhile, they spend a lot on the vision denial game elsewhere. Starhorn's always looking for a fight, though. You can just tell in the way that they play. Very aggressive, assertive maneuvers. But Edward Gaming, they're not going to do this unless it's a 5v5.
Dragon spawning in 20 seconds. Speaking of 5v5, that should be the next big point of contention.
Insect's doing his thing again. This tower in the mid is really low, but they just haven't been able to crack it, and they're not that interested. So they're setting up for the dragon right now. They have Kola in the area, but Koro is actually dueling him out. They might force him back to Fountain. He does have teleport available if he needs it. But this is getting a little bit dicey up in the top. Could turn into the 5v5. Oh, what is Edward Gaming doing? They're actually on the Baron pit right now, and they get a teleport in. Just trying to bait it out. Here we go.
Oh, this engage.
Zero. Oh my goodness, he doesn't look like a tank, does he? That's Braum going down for the first casualty of the fight. And in comes Koro with the Dragon's Descent. Everyone from Starhorn Royal Club scattering as Insect was in stealth. Whoa! Uzi answering with a kill back of his own onto Clear Love. So one jungler out of that fight. FCCF around the back providing cover fire. Koro is tanking, but he's low. That is going to be the pickup onto you. And this is turning in Starhorn's favor, but they are losing members left and right. Name gets out alive once again. Special Forces agent, that guy, but they trade 4 for 3. Not the greatest fight if you're EDG.
Uzi came up huge on that team fight. Effectively all he did was he stood in that brush to the side, and because it wasn't warded, EDG had no idea. Like, they had an idea that he was over there, but they assumed that he was coming all the way around. He was smart enough to wait for his team to re-engage and for the resources of EDG to be distracted before just tearing through the side of the team with rockets. I think he got, what is it called, the big one? I think got the big one on 3 members, which effectively destroyed you before just tearing through.
Yeah, the clumping was crazy, and... well, let's see this again. Here we go. They're waiting in the bush, so this is pretty obvious bait. They target Zero. Yes, he was the closest, but he's the front line. That's exactly what they wanted. Also, the Cataclysm, complete waste. Koro goes around. They make him scatter, but they don't realize Uzi is there, and then Clearlove just gets nuked.
Complete lack of focus. And the fissure, the glacial fissure, wasn't even used this team fight because Zero died so fast.
There was the shockwave. So, okay. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but then they tried to disengage one at a time and, yeah, kind of high-fived each other back to Fountain. Uzi really needed to be pushed out there, but at least somebody's happy about that. That guy says, woo!
If I was Uzi, I'd be pretty happy about that.
Uzi's pretty happy about it, definitely. But EDG have to rethink their team fight strategy. This game kind of got blown wide open there. It was very even and close, but now Starhorn has a definitive team fight advantage.
Oh, insect from the back.
Oh, he's trying to make something happen. Megan Fernabomb coming in hot, and they managed to burst down FCZF and Clearlove. That is going to be at least one kill. 2 now. Cataclysm, though. Can they turn this one around? Cola face tanking a lot. The ball is not going to connect on nearly enough. Name going down now, and you and Koro are still alive. Make that just Koro. However, he should be able to escape, but once again, a very suboptimal fight in the jungle for Edward Gaming.
Complete disaster from EDG right here as Koro.
Koro might die here.
We trade 1 for 1.
He's still going pretty hard. He's very tanky right now, and they're not sure if they want to touch him. Insect is there. He's low. Can he turn it on around? I don't know. He's going to burn his flash. So has to get a summoner out, and this could be a Baron attempt if Starhorn is feeling... No, okay. Just the vision. It would have been a little bit crazy.
That would have been a little too crazy even for LPL. Again, disastrous fight. The fact that the shockwave, such a vital cooldown, isn't connecting to anything. I think it whiffed every single member of Starhorn Royal Club. The fact that you have a Wombo combo composition, you have the Cataclysm, you have the Dragon Descent, and they have yet to stack those ults effectively.
Yeah, well, here's what they're trying to do. Insect initiates a great fight, and they just kind of leave Clearlove for a second. Try to get out of the Mega Inferno Bomb. FCZF, though, gets bursted right back into it. And then Clearlove goes in with the last breath he has, gets the Cataclysm off, but there's no follow-up damage. Koro's around the side, so it's just you and Name like, face-tanking everything. And I'm pretty sure the ball, it just lands on red buff.
Red buff OP.
Yep, also Ziggs bombs. That's another thing about this. These fights are great in the jungle for Starhorn because they have so much AoE damage that it's really hard to avoid when you're in those narrow corridors. EDG needs to take fights on their own terms, and they haven't been doing it.
Well, EDG have the answers. They have just as much AoE. They have lack of vision and lack of knowledge to make the plays that they're making, and they're frankly getting caught out and out-positioned and out-rotated by Starhorn Royal Club.
Every single time. And they actually just start this Baron up. Okay. Time to leave, guys. Just kidding. That was a little bit odd.
I don't think they can see that ward in the very back of the pit with where their pink ward is. It's a little too shallow. So I think their understanding was that it's free. Unless Clearlove makes his way back there. Oh, nope, Nami got it.
Everybody's making their way back there now. See Nami? Oh, I'm going to get out of there, out of the Baron range. Split-second decisions.
Nami's damage right now cannot compete with Uzi eyes.
No, not at all. 7-1 Corki? That's insanity right now. And he's even got a Banshee's Veil, too, just for the extra protection. They need to get to that back line. And they haven't been able to do it since that fight.
See what Starhorn really look to do, though, with their lead. Still decent, but slim. One good team fight and a bad Baron throw could turn this game wide open for either side.
Yeah, game can still be turned around in any way, shape, or form, but Starhorn is realizing that they have this lead, not loosening their grip on it at all. They want to control the game from here. And Insect actually going to ult in, finds himself you, and that's going to be a Mega Inferno Bomb being flashed away from. Dark Binding may very well have saved U's life, but no. That's going to be enough damage from the AoE, picking him up. Korn getting the credit for that one. Again, they're finding picks in the jungle. Insect, gotta be careful. There's Koro, but they are just going to clear out the Baron right now. And Insect, they're going to be able to start this. It's a 5v4 right now without you in the fight.
It's burning down incredibly quickly.
They have so much damage, and can Clearlove get in here for the steal? They know exactly where he is. He wants to get the Cataclysm off. Cole is not going to give him the option, though. He's getting bursted down way too quick. If his Smite steal's going in, it's not going to happen. That ends up being taken down. by Starhorn Royal Club, and they're just trying to salvage something out of this one now. Name staying alive, but Kola not giving him much of a chance of anything. Korra taking the front line, Zero still alive. They're not getting anything out of this one. Starhorn running train on this team. Edward Gaming is scattering like so many disappointed dreams. 4 deaths to none, and it could be 5 in just a minute if FCZF can get away from this. Oh, the big one! Hey! This is painful to watch, Frosk.
What a turn from Starhorn Royal Club. Beautiful play from Kola to go over to the back of the pit. This chase is still on.
Yeah, Uzi is not giving it up. He sees him in his sights. One more rocket would be all it takes. Oh, or not. Black Shield, but Zero's here. Bye-bye. Eventually. He gives it away. Oh, what a nice support.
Big playmaker, of course, is going to be Cole, like I said, going over the back of the pit and 1v1ing Clear Love 100-0 and taking away any chance that EDG had at that Baron. Big communication issue is that they didn't come from the same side. You saw half of EDG's members were on the front of the pit. Clear Love went to the back of the pit, was looking for the steal, clearly standing on a ward. Got outmaneuvered. I just feel like they should have at least all come from the same side if they're going to try to do something.
Yeah.
But great recognition from Starhorn to say, you know, the shockwave is down. We killed their big AoE presence. We can easily Baron.
You know, you just hasn't been for somebody on a champion that's the focal point of this team. We talked about it at the beginning. The Wombo combo was huge, but they never pulled it off. Not any one fight. Those shockwaves have been absolutely terrible, and you really got to question the pick ban decision making from EDG this game. Yeah, they got Lucian, but it feels like they got blinded by the fact that they picked up a lot of comfort picks.
I think you were spot on with the call that Orianna was a takeaway pick from Korn for the Rengar. Not that you can't play Orianna, because, I mean, this game aside,
normally
Orianna
you can play Orianna.
Is in his champion pool, but Ziggs is far superior comfort pick. And I like how Ziggs is being utilized in Starhorn World Cup's competition. It's almost, you know how I like to talk about top compositions with Xerath?
You do over the top.
Over the
no, that's
over
me.
the top compositions with Rengar Xerath. How they like to drop. Well, they drop the Xerath ultimate, and Rengar or Jax or Aurelia, someone with a backline dive, just dives back there and just follows up on the Dunk Master.
Oh yeah, it's a shock and awe. It's like you launch the missiles, and then all of a sudden, under cover of the missiles, you just go in.
They're doing the exact same thing with Korn on Ziggs. He throws the Mega Inferno Bomb, and as it lands, Insect comes in and just immediately destroys someone.
Yeah, it's working out really nicely for them. It makes you wonder that if they had just given away the Orianna and taken the Ziggs, they wouldn't have had to worry about Korra being on Shyvana. Not that he hasn't done great on it, but he would have been much more comfortable on like a Dr. Mundo pickup to take the 1v1. And now, trying to defend the base, but look at this, Name getting jumped on Insect. The Mega Inferno Bomb doesn't even need to land. Insect rips down Name incredibly quickly, and this inhibitor is going to follow right with him. 38 minutes into the game, and Starhorn Royal Club have cracked the base wide open. Super hot Royal Club right now. They're going to look to end the game. This is crazy right now. Can they do it, though? That is one Nexus Tower going down. Everything's in disarray here, and they're diving on the fountains. That's going to be another pickup. Clearlove is getting the Cataclysm out, and Koro says, fight me in the cage. They say, right on. That's exactly what we'll do, and they just push him right back to the fountain. Get back there. We're going to take out your last tower and try to end this one. This is looking like more and more this game is in the bag for Starhorn as they get themselves their first win of the set and tie up for second place with Edward Gaming.
And let's emphasize again that EDG just needs one more win to solidify their playoff spot. Starhorn Royal Club coming up huge in the back half of the split, unseating Giants. OMG now 1-1 with EDG, excuse me, 1-0 with EDG. Could look for the 2-0, especially if EDG doesn't change up their performance that time around. Starhorn, though, they played exactly the game that they wanted. They're very smart and they're very methodical in everything that they do. I'm going to give a huge bonus to that game. I feel like MVP should be Insect just because of his early early lane pressure, controlled the pace of that game completely. Again, we talked about Clearlove, trained by Messiah. He's not used to ganking. It's not really programmed into him. He finds a lot of success on Evelynn, and why that works for him is her global gank pressure, that she doesn't even need to gank a lane. It's just kind of that pseudo presence of being around. Has Jarvan, didn't gank at all, never found any sort of success, and I don't know if this is a lack of communication with his lanes, like, hey guys, you know, even out the lane, deny more CS, don't shove so hard, or if this was a just a huge issue on Krylov's part, but definitely a failure in the jungle.
Yeah, and with that, Starhorn has tied the second place spot. Huge ups to them, and especially Insect. When you look at where this team was at the beginning of the split, communication problems rampant, completely silly, unnecessary thrown games. This is just a completely different team, recognizing that they need to use the weapons that they have and making gigantic plays. You gotta wonder if they don't try to focus out Insect's picks this next game on EDG.
Well, likewise, Starhorn Royal Club looked completely different than they have at the start of the split. They were really kind of stumbling out of the gate, couldn't find a good synergy, but suddenly everything's clicking. I don't know if Insect and Zero suddenly are fluent in Mandarin or what is going on, but it looks like a completely different team. And it's funny, too, because, you know, they're prepping to go into playoffs, to put themselves in the qualifiers, to go to Worlds. So this would be back-to-back. If they make it, that Starhorn Royal Club would appear at Worlds, but completely different roster.
Exception of Uzi, of course. Yeah, that would be definitely something else. And Edward Gaming have to come up with a slightly different strategy going forward into this. They have been in a bit of trouble lately. It's almost like looking at these two teams, you see kind of a reversal. One started off really awkward and is getting a lot better now, and the other one started off incredibly strong, a lot riding on what they were doing, and they just only recently have been slipping up a bit. But let's see if they can bring it around and cement their playoff spot in game number 2. Or will it be Starhorn Royal Club that leapfrogs into second place with a win? We'll be back in just a bit to find out. You guys are watching the LPL in English, and don't go anywhere because we'll be right back.